everyone, and welcome to another week here of Just Gay Stuff podcast. I am Jess.
And I'm Lauren.
And guess what we have for you this week?
Another installment of Worst First Dates.
Yes, because it's always an exciting episode, and I love to read everyone else's stories because it helps us all feel more at ease with our own horror stories. Another way for us to not feel alone on this crazy roller coaster that we call life.
Oh, I knew that you were going to go there. But before we get into that, I just want to jump on the back of our queer baiting episode.
Oh, yeah?
Because you know how we were talking about, obviously, all these queer baiting is around. Surely there's fan fiction.
Yeah.
Around that. Mm-hmm. So yesterday when, I was screaming lesbians at the TV watching Rizzoli and Isles.
Because we're still watching Rizzoli and Isles. Yep.
I went to try and see what fan fiction has been written. So I'm just going to read a few of the synopsis things to see which one we would want to read.
Oh, okay.
Just before we get into the worst first dates.
So on the back of the queer baiting, for anyone who's watched Rizzoli and Isles, these are the fanfics that are out there, and which one would we watch?
Well, read.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Read, not watch.
Read. I don't like to read much, but I'll read a fan fiction.
About lesbians.
Yes.
All right. This one's sad. The first one. Jane and Maura process the miscarriage.
Oh, yeah, that is really sad.
I don't know if I'd want to read that. I'd want to read the sexy tension to where they finally...
Give me the smutty.
Yeah,
Give me the smutty fanfics.
They are finally mated.
That is a very Maura thing to say. I know we're kind of living in the past because Rizzoli and Isles was a million years ago, but it's so good.
This is a cute one. Boston detective Jane Rizzoli and medical examiner Maura Isles fall in love and build a life together while fostering a spirited 3-year-old boy named Benny.
I love it. I'll read that one.
I think I'll read that one.
Yeah.
All right.
It's a good place to start.
That was a good place to start for the queer baiting and going back into
Worst First Dates.
What volume are we up to?
We are up to Vol.7. This is our 7th installment of Worst First Dates.
That's true.
And as we know, so life can go from 0 to 100, and it feels like sometimes it can go in the blink of an eye. Lauren and I this morning have just made a very big step in the direction of
adulting,
trying to get our life together, which I'm sure everyone has been there. So I love these episodes because I feel like it gives us a second to just sit back and take a breath and listen to someone else's story, which, is the whole
reason.
I
love that our listeners want to bring their stories to us
and trust us to tell them.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. Trust us to tell them, and just the fact that we have listeners willing to write in instead of us just going, oh, what
Still
are we going to talk
blows
about
my
this
mind.
today?
Well, we do have a few stories for everyone today, and we're going to rally these back and forth because Lauren didn't want me to read the stories that she picked out beforehand.
No, I didn't, because I literally was at work and I sent Jess a message while we were planning and looking at the stories that listeners had sent in, and I was like, I've chosen these ones. You cannot read them. I want your real reaction. I'm going to read it off my phone. And she's like, no, you'll just insert them afterwards. I'm like, okay.
Well, in saying all of that, why don't you kick us off?
Dear Lauren and Jess.
Ooh, your name first.
I know, lucky me.
Never happens.
No.
Never happens.
I went on a date with my ex's ex.
Lesbians.
If you know, you know.
This is why I say you always have to meet someone that is directly outside of your inner circle.
Yeah, outside of the map.
You need to not have any connections to that person.
I was going to say, I don't think we did, but we had one mutual.
One is okay.
One is okay.
One is okay.
And while we were having a chill time at the bar, the shared ex happened to show up.
Ugh.
She was with her friend celebrating her birthday and she spotted us.
Okay, so not her fault that it's her birthday, but I mean...
Also, is it the only bar in town?
Maybe.
Or is it the only acceptable lesbian bar?
Maybe it's The Beat here in Brisbane.
Oh, yeah.
The only place anyone
really
goes.
You would run into anyone.
Or the Wickham.
Yeah.
We are a little bit blessed here.
The so-called ex freaked out at us. Understandably.
Is it understandably? It's a free fucking world, can I just say?
And also, she's an ex for a reason.
Yeah.
She's mad because the ex-partner is now on another date.
She's holding on. She needs to let go.
She's still burning a candle.
Yeah.
And a random woman at the bar was trying to get her to calm down.
Good job.
This ex ended up biting this woman on the neck.
Jesus. Is this the reason that you, got rid of her?
I was like, yeah, what the hell? This is
a vampire kind of thing.
A vampire fetish thing, or a weird aggro thing.
Yeah.
How drunk was this person?
Definitely aggro.
My date, her ex, and I decided to just remove ourselves from the situation before it got worse. But she followed us to the car and stood in front of it, blocking us from leaving and screaming at us.
Why? Just move on. Why do people hold this stuff over people's heads?
Yeah, I don't know. Eventually, her friends got her to go inside so we could leave. Fast forward a week or two, the one that I was dating, the biter's ex, stole all my phone chargers and half my clothes and moved a few hours away without saying anything. I don't know which bullet I dodged more.
Jesus, that sounds like a terrible situation.
A toxic situation.
Very toxic.
A situation for like, I don't know how you end up on those dates to begin with, because I'm like, don't you do research on the people?
I feel like it's the people that don't do the research, right? So people that don't spend enough time getting to know that person before they go on the date.
Yeah.
Although, some of the dates that I have in this episode is like they have spent the time and it's still a fizzer.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to lead into this one, which
Sure.
I want to do a bit of a trigger warning. This is not a funny story. So, dear Jess and Lauren, I've listened to a few of your Worst First Dates episodes, and despite some people being horrible and unfortunate things happening, I'm not sure any first date could be worse than one of mine.
Oh, no.
So I felt I had to write in and share my experience with you.
I'm so sorry already.
I had just moved to a new city to attend uni and knew no one. I joined the dating apps mostly for friendships, but also with the attitude that if something were to blossom into something more, I would happily see where it would go. A few weeks in, I'd had a few matches, but one girl had really gotten my attention and honestly had kept my mind occupied in this new place where I felt quite alone. We had plans to meet up, and because I didn't know my way around too much, she convinced me to drive to her place and she would drive us into the city. Big cities scare me. I'm originally a small town country girl, and so I was happy to dag around somewhere local, but she was adamant on taking me to a certain place in particular.
Oh.
Such an Australian saying,
Yeah,
dag around.
dagger.
I was nervous about everything, meeting her in person, driving to her place, going into the city. My anxiety was through the roof. When I got to her place, I knocked on her door, but she didn't let me inside. She was ready to go, so she slipped out and said we'd go straight into the city and to get into her car.
That's not surprising though. Like,
You don't want to share like the inside of your house.
yeah, especially on a first date.
And like if they were anxious too, maybe there were clothes everywhere
Yeah.
or whatever. She didn't know what to wear. Not even 15 minutes driving, she ran a stop sign and a large four-wheel drive T-boned us at the intersection. I woke up in a hospital bed hours later. I was pretty battered and bruised.
Oh my goodness.
I ended up staying in hospital for a couple of weeks. My parents flew to see me. I didn't end up starting uni at the beginning of the semester with everyone else because of my hospital stay. And after sending the girl message after message because I didn't know if she was okay, I never got anything back for a couple of months. She eventually did message me, which I was grateful for because I had no idea if she'd even made it out of the crash okay. She did, which was great. She tried to ask me for a rain check, but I kindly declined.
Fair enough.
If the first date was anything to go by, I wasn't ready for whatever the second date might have had in store.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that story with us. I'm
Pretty harrowing.
Yeah, that's a really sad story.
Imagine if their love could have blossomed and like that accident never happened.
I know.
But also this is just a PSA to like, you might be anxious and you might be scared to go on your date. Maybe just meet there, because if that's going to add to your anxiety of driving and then you do make mistakes on the road, just meet your date at a mutual place.
Yeah, mutual place. Mm-hmm. So also, it's a safety thing. You know, you don't know who this person is.
So many of your stories, everyone who's listening right now, so many of your stories are written in and you meet at someone's house or you go in the one car and it's like, you know, let yourselves have an exit strategy, you know?
Yeah. Okay, next one. I once matched with this girl on Tinder and we arranged to go to the local pub. I offered to drive since she didn't have a car.
Now, yeah, when you don't have a car, that makes it a bit harder. But I mean, just try and meet somewhere that's public transporty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was me when I first came out of the closet. I didn't have a car.
50
or a
cent fares now
license.
if you live in Queensland, everyone.
So, when I picked her up, she asked if we could swing by and grab her friend on the way.
No. Hard
Why
pass.
would you
Your friend
ask-
is not coming to a date.
Yeah.
Although, safety in numbers. Oh,
Yeah, but
okay.
it's always weird. I always feel like if you're having a friend, why wouldn't you, like we've said, why wouldn't you just meet at the place of
go
said
with
date?
the friend and then the friend's less conspicuous. You know?
Also, can your friend drive or?
I don't know. I just imagine the friend with the newspaper and the
Yeah,
eye
the
cutouts,
glasses,
like-
yeah. Spoiler, we were picking up more than just one friend.
Oh.
Oh, what? We get to the pub and suddenly it clicks. They're not here for a drink. They're using my car to deliver stuff they're now selling at the pub.
Drugs.
Oh. I had just unknowingly played getaway driver in their side hustle.
Oh, shit.
She tries to make it up to me by asking me out to dinner a few nights later. I think, all right, maybe she's redeeming herself. No, why would you go?
No, I would
Why
never.
would you
I
go
would
on the
never.
next date?
I would never.
We get to the restaurant. She orders me food and nothing for herself.
No.
That's weird.
Yep.
Just sat there watching me eat like it was some kind of weird performance art. But hey, every chaotic date has a silver lining.
Does it though?
I told my friend about the disaster and she shared it with her mates. One of them messaged me and was like, let me show you how a proper date works. 10 years later, we're married with 2 kids, a dog, and 0 drug drops involved.
Well, at least you had a silver lining to that story.
She got a happy ending out of the
Your terrible date
led you to your partner.
led you to a good date.
Yeah, led you to a life partner. Oh, okay, well, that's a cute ending, so I can deal
cute
with
ending's
it.
fine.
I also, for people not watching, I automatically went,
You did the limp wrist.
I did.
All right, my next one was a straight story.
Oh,
so
no.
they actually started this email with trigger warning, a straight story.
Oh, no.
But as we've said, we're happy to have every kind of worst first date.
Yeah.
So trigger warning, a straight story. Hi, Lauren and Jess. Sending you this absolute shit show of a first date I went on with a guy because you said you will take all the worst first dates and not just gay ones.
Sure, well,
Absolutely.
we love to hear everyone's misery.
Yeah, totally. It's just shared experience. We're happy to just share experience.
Yeah.
In the weeks leading up to this date, I literally thought this guy was amazing. He seemed so down to earth, into all the things that I was into, and seemed like he genuinely wanted to get to know me. I asked him on the date because he'd told me he can be quite shy about making first moves. So I planned a whole evening to take him to one of my favorite restaurants.
Aww.
I thought it was really cute. He insisted on picking me up, which I was hesitant about in the beginning because us girlies should never leave ourselves without an exit
You
strategy.
literally just said
What
that.
did we just say?
Literally.
Exactly. This person has definitely listened to us
I've
before.
heard.
But he'd made me feel so at ease, I suppose. I had let my guard down in that department.
That's always where they get you.
Yep.
It's the love bombing and ease to start with. And then you're like, in saying that, I've done some risky stuff for a first date.
People that can make you trust them really easily are people that you need to be wary of,
Yeah.
I feel. He lived about 30 minutes from me and openly told me he'd never been to the place I'd organised for us to go, which made me feel excited as he liked the same things that I did. He picked me up and we went on our way. Pulling up to the restaurant was the first sign of something going wrong.
Oh, no.
Beside the restaurant is a loading zone, which I had warned him not to park there and to park in the parking centre and not to worry, I would pay. He insisted near his house he parks in zones all the time and nothing ever happens, so it will be fine.
That's such a typical male behavior
know.
to be like, oh, I'm not
I
going to
know
listen
better.
to the woman.
I know
Yeah.
better. Yeah. We enter the restaurant and I tell the person seating us that I'd made a reservation, to which they couldn't find.
Oh, no.
He started getting irritable and yelling at the girl who was trying to help us. I told him to calm down as I'm sure everything would be okay and in the worst case, we could just go somewhere else, to which he replied he didn't drive all this way for me to fuck up the date. This pissed me off. When we finally got seated, he complained about the area in the restaurant and picking up the menu, complained about the prices.
Oh, my God.
Instantly, I felt like I could do nothing right. After hearing him complain easily 10 times about the prices on the menu, I told him not to worry as I would pay because he drove and I really loved the restaurant. After saying this, he ordered 3 of the most expensive things on the menu, seeing as
Jesus.
I was paying. I really started to feel like this was not the guy I had gotten to know over the past few weeks.
It's a facade. They put a facade up on the internet and then they get you.
They get you. They draw you in for that date and then I feel like they kind of take
They
advantage.
kind of want more than the date.
People
they
do
want
this all the time.
Mm-mm.
After we got through dinner and I paid the very expensive bill, we went to walk back to his car to find that it wasn't there and it had been towed. He was furious. I told him that I warned him as I knew the area better than he did. He started swearing at me and calling me a know-it-all bitch.
What a
Then
cow.
demanded that whatever the fine is to get his car back, that I should pay it.
What?
That was the last straw for me. I felt like I had done everything to try and make the evening a nice first date, and all I'd copped from him was abuse. Red flag, red flag, red flag.
Yep.
I hopped on my phone, ordered an Uber, and left him there to sort his own shit out. When I got home, I blocked him on everything and decided the next date I was going on, I was going to lean into my out proud bisexuality and finally take the leap to find a nice girl.
I love that. First of all, the warnings were there.
Yeah.
Like we said, if people are able to make them trust you super easily without you asking all these questions and suddenly you're breaking down your morals or your values to just go and be with them, you're like, what's sus?
I feel like it's so hard because I know how we spoke about how hard it was jumping into the dating scene after both being in long-term relationships.
Yeah.
And you don't want all of your dating experience to be tainted by the small bad things that you have been through in the past. So it is hard to like open that back up. So you don't want to cut yourself off to opportunity and stunt your own growth in that way. But at the same time, I think it's really hard to recognize green flags from red flags sometimes.
Oh, yeah. 100%. I think in a similar way that this person obviously has said that now they've lent into their bisexuality and went to find a nice girl. I did the same thing.
Yeah, I knew you'd resonate with that.
I think the only thing that we really need to take from this is that doesn't erase her queerness. That doesn't erase her possibly wanting to date a man in the future either.
Yeah, true.
Because just reading the last thing of the bisexuality and finally taking the leap to find a nice girl, I'm like, if it ended with a girl, it doesn't mean, how all the cisgender privileged people usually like, oh, well, you just had the wrong man.
Yeah.
You had a red flag man, so now you're with a girl.
No, she was queer the whole time.
She was queer the whole time.
This was just her bad experience with a guy, unfortunately. Okay, what's your next one?
My next one. Dear Jess and Lauren, I matched with this girl on Tinder because
that's how it always starts.
So did Jess and I. Literally.
Oh, that's what you wanted me to say?
What?
That's how we met.
No, I was always going to say that, but that is how we met.
I know, but I thought you wanted me to say that because that's what you said. And I was like, nope, that's how it always starts.
But it is how it always starts.
Yep.
If it's not that, it's Bumble.
Or Grindr for the guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a lesbian one?
We went through this last episode.
Did we?
Yeah.
Oh.
It was her.
Well, she, I don't know.
No,
Anyways.
I think it's her.
All right.
I don't know.
Jumping back in. Match with this girl on Tinder. She seemed super chill. We had great banter and she suggested dinner in the city. I thought, sweet, a real date with actual plans. That's so true because it's so hard to have conversations with people on Tinder that then want to like develop further and meet up or...
Yeah. I also feel like all of these dates are like destination dates.
Yeah.
Like, why are we going so far? I'm like, I don't know how close these people live together, but I'm just saying, like, why so far? Why not just like, let's go to a local restaurant that's nice? And
that's true. Well, we don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just, yeah.
You're fantasizing
I'm
about that.
here.
I show up at the restaurant, dressed decently, maybe even a little overdressed.
I'm glad that you met her there.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah, true. Instead of at her house or in the car. Mm-hmm. I spot her right away and she's not alone. Not again. There's another girl with her, smiling like she's part of the plan.
Oh, okay.
I'm already scared.
This is like a couple wanting a third, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. My date waves me over and casually goes, hope you don't mind. This is my best friend. We don't get into the city often, so we thought we'd make a fun night of it.
Okay, I get it, but also you made plans with someone else. So if you wanted to just spend time with your best friend, just do that.
Also, I feel like if it was like a group situation, you could do the number one thing, communicate.
Yeah.
Communication.
That's a really hard thing for people to do.
It is.
Though.
It's a super hard thing for people to do.
This person could have also brought a friend.
Literally. It could have been like a double date thing.
Anyways. Whatever.
Sure, I'm immediately thrown off.
I would be.
I mean, who brings her back up to a Tinder date?
I mean, that's not a horrible question. I would bring back up if I felt like I needed to.
Yes, but you would also communicate about the fact that you need, hey, is it okay if I bring my friend? I haven't met you before.
I don't think I would tell you that.
What?
I don't think I would communicate that. I think I would just have them not be in our vicinity.
Oh, that's different.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Like they wouldn't be sitting with me at the table and you're just like,
this person's like brought the
I know.
person over. Okay, well, that's fine. I get that too. Yeah, my best friend would just sit on the...
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Behind the newspaper,
Yeah, I digress. But I try to be cool. We order drinks and the conversation's a bit all over the place.
It's okay.
And I'm definitely not sure who I'm actually on the date with anymore.
Or maybe she's talking more to the friend.
Yeah. Then they suggest the casino.
Oh, I hate the casino.
Me too. Apparently, I'd mentioned I've never been, so they decided we have to go.
No, the casino's shit.
Who has money to go to the casino?
Not me.
We drive separately, and I'm still trying to figure out if this is a group hang or a really, really confusing date.
Should have driven home.
Yeah, should have.
Should have just driven home.
When we get there, my date disappears. Oh. Literally, she vanishes into the crowd like David Copperfield.
Was he at the casino?
Because that would have been amazing. Meanwhile, her friend ends up staying with me. Interesting.
Okay.
She's friendly, funny, and actually seems interested. Helps me figure out how to play the slots, gives me a crash course in blackjack, and we're weirdly vibing.
Okay, so it might not have been all bad.
Then, plot twist, halfway through the night, she leans in and says, "So, we kind of thought you'd vibe better with me, so we did a little switcheroo."
Okay.
Like I'd been drafted to the wrong girl and they just subbed in the starter, like it was some kind of romantic game night.
I mean, did it work out? Because that's
I don't know.
That's the point.
Easily one of the weirdest nights of my dating life. I never saw either of them again.
Aw.
But hey, I walked away with a few blackjack skills and a killer story for the group chat.
That's not bad.
I mean,
I've been in this scenario.
it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be.
I've been in this scenario before where a friend of ours brought a girl to meet my best friend and then I ended up vibing with her.
Oh, yeah.
And then we ended up getting together and they didn't vibe, which was fine. But it's kind of funny how it's like the intention for two people who you think are going to get along don't.
And wasn't there like correct me if I'm wrong and I could be wrong, a friend of yours also brought someone to see you play or
Same story.
see if you were, is it the same story?
Yeah.
And is now with the other friend?
Oh, no.
Now her wife?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. But, okay, so she brought her friend to come and see us play, but not like for a dating thing. She was just like, oh, look at this person that I'm interested in. And I think she wanted that person to be like, oh, yeah, she's really cool. But she had eyes for my best friend.
Yeah. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah,
I was
so-
like, are we on the same story or a different story?
You weren't wrong. Okay, the next one. Hey, Jess and Lauren. First, I want to apologize for how long this story might go for, but there's a lot to unpack. So sorry, not sorry.
Please never apologize for how long.
Please.
We don't have the rights for that. Please never apologize for how long a story is. We love a good juicy story
I
here.
love a good juicy story. I was about 19 when this happened, and funnily enough, my high school boyfriend had broken up with me because he was jealous over this guy I worked with at my job. Funny because I always thought he was gay until we worked a few more shifts together and he asked me to hang out one time. At first, I was unsure because I'd always heard the horror stories about shitting where you eat or whatever they say when you date someone you work with. Yep, very
it's true. It's true because I know a lot of people who have integrated the work and relationship thing and it never ends well.
It's not good.
No.
Even certain friends are always like, oh, maybe we should open a cafe together and we'll all work there. No.
Never work with your family. Never work with your friends. Never sleep with your friends.
Yeah, that too. Anyways, this guy was hot and I was not someone who had a lot of self-esteem. So I was just happy to have been asked out what I thought was asked out.
Been there. It's sad.
When the day of our plans got closer, I asked for specifics on what we were doing. What time were we meeting up? Where were we going? You know, normal things that I feel someone should know when hanging out with someone. He said, leave it with him. He'll think of something.
Sure.
The day before our hang, I still hadn't got any clarification on what we were doing and I was on shift with him. I asked him again and his response was something very bohemian like, we'll go where the wind takes us.
All right, Pocahontas.
So my first mistake was driving to his place and letting him drive us on the date.
No.
What do we say? As soon as we pull out of the driveway, I hear him crack open a drink between his legs. I look over thinking it must just be a Coke or something along those lines. But nope, he cracked open a fucking can of Bundaberg rum.
What the fuck? Road rules.
I know. I raised my concerns, to which he just offered me a can.
Is this in Australia? Because this feels like a very Australian, story.
I don't know how many people we have from overseas writing us, to be honest. I ask again where we're going, and I find out that there is no real plan at all, not even to go to dinner. And I purposely didn't eat because I thought we'd at least get a meal. He ends up driving us to a park where his plan was to drink the rest of the rum cans he brought on the swings. This was definitely not what I had in mind.
Sure.
Being in a park at about 8 p.m. at night with a guy I'd never hung out with before.
That's the way murders start.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we've
watched a few of those.
That. He ends up going on a rant about his favourite fast food and then decides to take me to his favourite McDonald's. McDonald's wasn't my first choice, but at least food was involved and at this point I was starving. We go to the drive-thru, not even inside to eat at a table because he wants to drive me to another park.
What's his obsession with parks?
He tells me all about his family drama, how his sister is getting married and no one likes her fiancé, how his parents are divorced and the wedding will be shit because his mum and dad hate each other. He consumes 2 more rum cans, one which he poured into the McDonald's cup that he got while we were at the drive-thru, so that now our walk in the park looks less sus because he's only holding a McDonald's cup and not a Bundaberg rum can. At this point, I'm ready to leave. And when he suggests we head back to his place, I'm more than willing because I'm thinking I'll just get in my car and get the fuck out of there.
Yeah, because also, how is this man driving?
I know.
Didn't he drink like a whole pack of Bundy?
He's had 3 counting at this stage.
Okay.
At this stage, I'm even planning on looking for a new job the next day because I really don't know how to go back and work with this motherfucker.
Yeah, fair.
We get back to his place and I start the spiel about how the night was really nice, but I think I'll be going when he says that I haven't seen his sword collection. Yikes. At this point, what the fuck am I doing? I go in and pretend to be impressed, but really, I couldn't give any fucks. I love this girl. She's like swearing like a motherfucker. I love it.
Australia. Told you.
He asks if I want a drink and I say yes because at least at this point, neither of us are still driving. Although that decision to have one did delay me leaving earlier than I could because I'm a responsible driver and don't drink and drive.
Why did you stay to have one?
I don't know. He puts on some shit comedy show on YouTube and laughs his ass off while still drinking far too much. He's had more than a 6-pack of rums at this stage. He tried to kiss me, but I really didn't want to kiss him, so I pretend I thought he was trying to hug me. So I let a hug happen, and he eventually falls asleep on the couch beside me, and I find myself able to slip away and finally get the fuck home.
Yeah.
The next morning, I still can't believe the audacity. I wake up to a text message from him saying he had a good evening, but I'm just not his vibe. And to save it being awkward at work, I should probably look for a new job.
What?
Well, my stubbornness got the best of me, and any thoughts of me leaving my job after that had gone completely out the window. I was going to make him feel so uncomfortable at work. He showed up for one more shift that he had with me, and then I never saw him again. I have never dated anyone in the workplace ever again. Lesson learnt.
True. Never date anyone in the workplace.
Yep.
It's so bad.
Have you done it before?
No.
I have.
Oh.
It didn't end badly though.
Oh, do tell.
Well, so when I was about 20, I was working with this guy, sweetest guy, honestly. I think I've said this before on the podcast. Even in all of my queerness, if we had been older and I had met him older and I was single, I'm pretty sure I would have married him.
Wow.
He was just one of those people.
I'm very grateful you didn't.
Absolutely just beautiful soul he was. We just weren't right for each other at that time, you know?
Yeah.
Anyway, we stayed friends. We stayed really good friends. I
Are you
still have
still
him on
friends
Facebook.
now?
Yeah, I still have him on Facebook. He's a dad now and he's married.
Have you showed me photo? I don't know if you have.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I don't know. He doesn't have any good photos on his profile. He's not very active. He's an accountant now.
Right.
He could be my accountant.
I was like, what's at the end of the story? All right. This is also a straight story, unfortunately, for us to end on.
No, who cares? I love all the
all the stories. Yeah. Misery loves company, so.
Oh, a spoiler. I saw this one in the inbox, so I have
half read it.
Yeah. Okay, go for it.
Dear Lauren and Jess, I matched with this guy on Tinder.
Didn't we all? Well, I didn't match with him on Tinder, just saying.
I was like, what? And at first, it felt very promising. We moved the chat to Snapchat.
No. Don't do that.
Snapchat feels like very
ever do that.
teeny bopper.
No, I feel like Snapchat is very shady.
The gateway to catfishing.
Yeah, well, it's just the gateway to shadiness because then people can, send you stuff and then retract it and then you can't see it and too much. I don't even use Snapchat anymore.
No, neither. Every now and then send you a photo and I hardly ever use it, but if I do, it sits there for 5 weeks until you go back on it.
My notifications on Snapchat build up and then they end up sending me an email saying you have unviewed snaps, and then I go on and view them all.
Yeah, you're like, oh yeah, that's right.
And then leave it for another 2 months.
We spent weeks talking. Long conversations, inside jokes, cute filters, the whole early stage crush package.
Cute filters. I just imagine the zombie filter.
Oh. You had the zombie filter and I had the dog then. He seemed funny, charming and emotionally available. And I was genuinely excited to finally meet him in person.
I hate when you have that butterfly, genuine
vibe.
excitement and you just know it's not going to go somewhere.
Yeah.
Especially reading these, I feel like you were always so hopeful for the person in the beginning when they all start out so beautifully and then you just know the downfall's
The
coming.
downhill, yeah. Mm-hmm. So I planned a casual but thoughtful first date.
Cute.
A quiet, cozy brew house in my neighborhood. Ooh,
See?
that's a good date vibe.
That's what I'm saying. You don't have to go on long 40-minute drives to the city. I know not
Said the
everybody.
lesbian.
I know not everybody lives that far away from the city like we do.
I was like, said the lesbian.
Why?
Because lesbians normally go 40
Oh, they'll go 40 hours for a first date.
Low key, good craft beer, warm lighting. Perfect for a first time face to face vibe check.
I do agree. She's
Yeah, I
done
do
well.
agree. He arrived, noticeably drunk.
I don't like it.
Dun dun dun, here comes the downfall.
Yep.
Like not tipsy after a pre-date pint drunk. Slurring his words, stumbling through the door, already smells like regret drunk.
And here's the other thing. When you go to little breweries like this person has, they don't really have security at the front. So like if they had gone to a bigger place, this guy wouldn't have even been let into the
No,
place.
he wouldn't. And then, for the kicker, he opened with, "You're going to be fun. You're 4'9" and stacked. You're basically a walking blowjob."
Oh, that's awful.
Yeah, that's how he greeted me. Not a hello, not a you look great, just full throttle misogyny with a side of objectification.
Yeah, I'm not liking that.
No, I would have punched him. Not that I can punch very hard, but...
I would have punched him right in the dick because that
Yeah.
would have been my height.
Yeah. I blinked. I laughed nervously. I told myself maybe he was just trying and failing at humour. I gave him a few more minutes. Mistake. Then, and I wish I was making this up, a minor fender bender happened outside the pub. What's a fender bender?
Like a disagreement between people, like a little punch
right,
up.
a punch up.
Yeah.
Nothing serious, just a little bumper tap.
Oh, so a car accident.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he immediately began yelling anti-Asian slurs across the bar, completely
No.
unprovoked and loud enough to make the entire place fall silent.
No, there is no space in
For
our
that.
current anywhere for
Yeah.
racism.
No, not at all.
Do better, people. Do better. Who's raised this guy?
Yeah, who knows? I wanted the earth to swallow me whole. I was mortified. I should have left then and there, but again, foolish optimism. It got worse.
No.
Why did you stay?
Have you ever been in that position though where someone has done something really embarrassing around you and you just don't want to
You
be
freeze. It's that awkward moment. You don't want to be known to that.
Yeah, you don't want to be seen as, oh, I'm actually with this person.
Yeah.
Sometimes that happens to me on a weekly basis, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I do. I trust
Okay.
me. I know what you're talking about.
It's you. No,
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
It got worse. He proceeded to tell me in horrifying graphic detail about his morning bowel movements. Apparently they were liquidy and concerning, and I quote, looked like something out of a horror film. This was while I was mid-sip of my beer.
Well, I mean, the most someone ever needs to tell you about bowel movement is that they need a good coffee. You
Yeah.
don't really need to go into what it looks like.
Yeah,
Anyway,
but he wasn't done there.
of course he wasn't.
This is just on the scale of train wreck. How much have you seen like the train wreck happen?
Well, I mean, taking into consideration one of the dates in this episode actually had a car accident.
Yeah.
This one is like still not there.
Yeah.
Because I feel like ending up in the hospital is definitely the worst.
That's true. Oh no. He then launched into a play-by-play of the first time he went down on a woman while she was on her period.
No.
Complete, get this, complete with sound effects and his unsolicited personal opinions on how it tasted.
Watermelon. How the fuck do you think it tastes?
I stared at the exit sign for most of this. When I finally mustered the courage to say I was going to call it a night, he snapped, full 0 to 100 rage, started yelling at me in the middle of the brew house about how I'd led him on and was a waste of his time.
I think he led you on and wasted your time. You didn't come all the way out here to be disrespected by this dick.
Yeah. I left, blocked, reported, deleted. That's good. I like that. Mm-hmm. In order. Left, blocked, reported, deleted.
Yep.
Easily.
Ubered home.
Yeah, Ubered home safely. Easily one of the most revolting and surreal nights of my life, like a fever dream. If the fever was food poisoning and the dream was a public service announcement for why I should delete dating apps forever.
That was
Yeah.
horrific.
That's a horrible story.
Why do we have people like this?
That's so rancid. And I'm not saying that that's like, I know this is a cis straight story.
Oh, it's not
but
that
it's
at all.
Not just,
I know what you're about to say. It's not just men and it's not just down to one specific
It's not down
gender.
to a gender.
There are people out there that will lead you on, treat you horribly, love bomb you and then take it all away, like narcissistic tendencies.
Well, that's like, you know, in the very first episode where I spoke about this lesbian shark or that predatory.
the lesbian shark.
The lesbian shark and the predatory moments of, you know, it was the same thing. It was, I'm not ready for a commitment, but you're someone willing to explore the love bombing of, here's all of this.
They want to be your first. They want to do this. They want to do that.
And I care about you and this, and be your first, to then suddenly, now I'm dating this person.
Yeah. There are so many people out there willing to just play you.
Yeah.
And it really is sad. But hey, this is why we do these episodes, so that we can all obviously have a laugh about it after the fact.
Yeah.
And not feel like we're the only ones having
You're
a
not
shit time in the
alone.
dating pool. Yeah.
You're not alone in it. And I, both my sister and my best friend are straight, and they tell me all of their
Terrible dating
stories all the
stories.
time. So.
I think we told one of theirs
we
on
did,
here. Yeah. Well, I hope that everybody has had their eyes opened in a few ways from these first dates that have been written in. We obviously are super grateful again for you to share your experiences with us. As always, if you have a story to write into us, justgaystuffpodcast@gmail.com.
And be sure to follow us on social media at
Yes.
Just Gay Stuff Podcast.
We have the Patreon up and running, so there are a couple of tiers if you want to donate to us.
which would be wonderful.
It would be wonderful. No obligations there. Honestly, we are just happy to be here and be a part of your world every week while you're listening.
Yeah, and sharing stories. And I think the number one thing that we always come away from when we do these worst first date episodes is make sure there's communication involved.
Mm-hmm.
If Catfish has taught me anything, reverse image search or internet stalk your date before you go on it.
Remember to always have an exit strategy. And honestly, if you ever feel unsafe, a few of these ones that we just said today, a few people saw what was coming and stayed.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
stay.
Don't stay. Always feel like you have the right to make that exit.
And if you feel like you're in a place, I think the hardest part is obviously when you've gone to someone's house or you've gone to a place that you don't know. But if this is why we say go to a public place, because if you go to a public place like a brew house, a restaurant, a cafe or something, there are a lot of places, especially in clubs nowadays, where women
ask for Angela at the bar.
Angela or angel shots.
Yeah,
where
people
women
know that you're in danger.
know
or
that
need
you're in
help.
danger and able to help you out of that situation. And there's different levels. Some of the levels could just be like, oh, just help me get away from this guy. Other levels could be like, help you get a taxi and leave. Or the final level is obviously call the police. But
And also, because Lauren and I are both women in our 30s, we watch a lot of true crime. And I just want to say,
so we go to sleep to. No, I'm just kidding.
If you have the capacity to share your location with your friend or your parents or whoever, make sure someone knows exactly where
Where
you
you
are.
are, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was a good little lesson.
It was cute.
Thanks for joining us on this episode, everyone. We hope you had a fabulous time. And until next week,
I guess you better remember to
stay gay, motherfuckers!
I'm talking about, you're talking about, we're talking about just gay stuff.
Thanks for joining us on another episode of Just Gay Stuff. Make sure to follow us at Just Gay Stuff Podcast on all your socials and write to us with your stories at justgaystuffpodcast@gmail.com.